Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view, from the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado. Hosted by Art Carlson. At 4'6", liberals fear him, and conservatives love him. He's definitely a giant among men. Now here's your host, Art Carlson.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view. We got a great show today. We're going to talk about the recent school shooting here in Colorado at the STEM school in Highlands Ranch. We'll talk about that and some of the ramifications on that. And plus, we'll talk about Attorney General Bill Barr. He is in hot water with Congress. So I am just waiting for my co-host to show up. I see he's on screen, but he's not in his chair. So we will wait a few minutes and we'll get going. But before that, I'm going to take a little gotta take care of something, and I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I'm dealing with allergies. My nose is running and it's all stuffed up, so I gotta deal with that. So I just want to wish all the mothers out there happy Mother's Day. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Westminster, Colorado. We're going to be in the upper 60s, low 70s today. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good week, and I'm off from work all this week, so I'll be able to get some fishing and some drone flying in. So let's go check over. Nobody's in chats yet, so we will wait for Lloyd to come on and we'll get going. So what I'll do is I'll get started on the stem cell the STEM school shooting that we had around the middle of last week here, where 2 students were killed, several wounded. The perpetrators have been captured and have been in front of a judge. So that'll be interesting to talk about that, and we'll talk about the vigil that happened a couple of days after the shooting that turned out to be a political speech by Senator Bennett, who's running for president, and Jason Crow, who's the freshman congressman from Congressional District 6, which that used to be my district. I used to live in there until I moved down here to Jefferson County. Now I'm in Congressional District 7. So, Jason Crow defeated the incumbent Mike Kaufman, and, well, a typical Democrat, he's already not a very good candidate. So I'm hoping that he's just another one of those one and done, and he's out of there in 2 years. But CD6 is a pretty competitive district. Mike has been able to hold on to that seat ever since the district was moved over to Aurora and that part of Arapahoe County. So it'll be interesting to see that. All right, we got Lloyd is back, and now we see his cupboards, which look good. All right, hey, all right, let's see. Can you hear me, Lloyd? Wait, okay, he's frozen up, so I will bring him on as soon as we get that issue dealt with. Getting back to the vigil that we had for the victims of the STEM school shooting. It was supposed to be a multi-denominational service that ended up being a political rally. Luckily, these kids are pretty bright, and they walked out as soon as they realized that it was turning into a political event. So that's just horrible that they would do something like that so soon after a tragic event like this. And their excuse was, well, Corey Gardner wasn't there. Well, yeah, because he's smart. He didn't want to politicize a tragic event like this. He's not a numbskull like you guys are. So it was put on by MDA, Mother Demand Action, which is a Jim Brady gun control group set up this. And like I said, Senator Michael Bennet and Congressman Jason Crow showed up and decided to turn this into a political event. All right, so we have Lloyd on. Lloyd, can you hear me? Let me see if I got. Okay, let me.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you good. All right.
Okay, I don't know which mic is coming from, but
okay.
Anyways, I'm having to use my iPad because my internet's down, and so I'm using my cell service.
I see.
Going old school here. But anyways, sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's okay. It's better late than never. So, what you did you hear about the school shooting that we had here in the Denver area last week?
Yes, I did. I heard about it when it happened, and because I still got some family up there, so I keep in Denver, so I keep an eye out for that stuff. And yeah, I figure that Colorado got right now. They just we talked about this last week. I think that they just passed some of the red flag law.
Right.
And you guys are going to have some of the toughest gun laws in effect, and obviously it didn't seem to help.
Yeah. Well, what it is that law won't go into effect until next January.
Okay. Well, that said, I mean it still comes down to the fact that, in my opinion, a lot of this stems from we've made life too cheap. These kids see it as these young people see it as, they've got mental problems, and it's because we don't have any guidance coming from the parents or the community or society.
Yeah, that's true.
And it still comes down to it's the bad act of a few people. This kind of stuff probably happened for generations in other parts of the world, and we just didn't know about it because we didn't have a 24-hour news service.
That's true.
But the liberals are going to take this and run with it. They're going to make it all about gun control. They probably already have, and it's just.
Yeah, they
but my heart
did,
goes out to
right?
the family of the young man that died, and from what I understand so far, he was quite the hero.
Yep, that's right. And sadly, I bet you the perpetrators, the Democrats and the media, will probably make them out as victims in all of this.
Oh, no doubt. There, about how it's sad that somebody with mental illness didn't get the kind of help that they needed, and they were in a bad home, and that because of the cutbacks in whatever agenda programs they had going under this administration, blah blah blah. It's not their fault. It's sad. Oh yeah, somebody died. Let's not forget about that. But let's go on about how sad it is for these poor students that had to feel bullied and that they had to go out and kill people. Really?
Right.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
that's my opinion.
I remember back in, when I was a kid and when you were a kid, we had bullies, but we didn't go home and decide to kill everybody at the school. Instead,
No.
we just have a fight out in the playground sometimes.
Well, and that's it, because part of the problem is, yeah, you'd have a fight in the playground, or if you were like me and you could fast talk somebody, get yourself out of a fight, or you had friends that would back you up if needed.
Yeah, that's
But
right. That's true.
it was always settled in a, I guess you'd call it the old-fashioned gentlemanly way.
Yeah.
You stepped outside, you took care of it. If you got your butt whooped, you got your butt whooped. I made friends with some of my bullies because I gave them a fight that they enjoyed.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it, but they enjoyed it. It wasn't that it was a total butt whooping on my side. It's just the fact that I held my own, and they realized I wasn't quite what they thought I was, and so and I ended up becoming friends with some of those guys, and they actually, because we had Hispanic gangs back in the '60s,
Yeah.
the blacks, the browns, and the whites were all rioting back and busing, in Denver, and because of that, we we sometimes, being the poor little fat white kid, the school I went to was predominantly white, but it also had a lot of Hispanics, and they had their
Right.
own little gangs. So, well, a couple of these guys I got in a fight with in grade school, come junior high, they were my protectors.
Right.
Just because I gave them a good fight.
Well, I just want to give a quick shout out to Thomas O'Sullivan and Drone Effects with Claude. Hello, Claude and Thomas, or Tomas. Welcome to the show. Yep. And it turns out one of the students that was part of this plot, who was one of the perpetrators arrested, is a transgendered person who's I think a female transitioning to be a male, whatever. Back when we were kids, nobody even thought about doing something like that. Gee, you know what? I want to be the opposite sex of what I am now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That, one, it doesn't surprise me. As two, is, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I had not seen that, but I saw that as a female, but I guess I just missed that part because I saw it the first day, and I haven't, I hadn't tuned into it the last day or so, and I kind of missed out on some of that because, and this is really frustrating. Let me see if I can get this.
Okay.
Let's see if my internet. Oh, my internet's back up on my regular setup. So,
Good.
yeah, it's it is for the moment. I don't know what happened. It just it seems like on Sundays it just wants to go down. It's done this to me once before.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
just put in a new modem because I'm downloading at 425 megs a second now.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
when it
really good.
works.
Well, your
Obviously.
picture looks nice and sharp. Looks really good.
Well, I'm actually on my iPad, so
Yeah.
what I may do is I may drop off of this for just a second and try coming back in on my regular uh, setup
Okay.
if we've got just a minute here, and it shouldn't take me but a minute. Otherwise, I'll be right back here.
All right. I'll just switch over to my regular video here. Folks, I'm going to step out for just a second. My allergies are kicking my butt. All right, I am back. Uh, yeah, these darn allergies. I don't know what it is. It could be the apple blossoms and the cherry blossoms are finishing, or something decided, hey, this is the week I'm going to start blooming, and let's get Art to have a runny nose and feel like crap. Oh boy. All right, so we got Lloyd is back. Let's bring him back on. Okay, let's get the right. There we go.
There we go. All right, we're back up.
All right.
And as you can see, I'm at a different angle now because
Yeah, that's right. So can you?
Well,
I've got your volume at max. So can you just? You know what I'll do is I'll. There we go. There we go. That's better. I just turned
all
up
right,
my
how's
amp
this?
a little better so I could hear you better.
Okay, there we go. I can bring that up a little closer and. Sorry about that. Okay. Well, that was nothing like starting a show off slow. Oh man, I had 2 o'clock Mountain Time, not 2 o'clock Central Time in my head, so I was almost late because I was fixing to roll over and go back and take a nap. You know, it's just like.
Yeah, I
But
saw
then
that
I
you
got
were
up and I
still
saw
in
your
your
text.
robe when
It's
you came on.
Yeah, that's why I
before
first
the
came on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't want to, I didn't shave. I apologize, guys, but let me see if I can get to chat now.
All right, I'm gonna go. All right, we got Thomas O'Sullivan and Claude is with us, so we got a few people. Not a whole lot of people today. I think it's because it's Mother's Day, so a lot of people are out
Mother's
with their
Day,
families.
yeah.
So that's what we're doing
Drone
today.
effects with Claude. He says he wants to be a pickle and get a surgery for that. Yeah, and let's have the state pay for it too. There you go. I mean, if you can change whatever it is that you are, would you want to be? Art, would you like to have yourself changed to be as tall as Peter Mayhew?
No, I wouldn't mind that. That'll probably be down the road where they could figure out how to genetically, engineering that'll help me grow again or to repair whatever is wrong.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but just this is the problem with, and this is what happens. With the society and that's why we're having these problems. We have not taught these people to accept life's not fair.
That's right. That's right. And this is what gets me about Democrats. They're always saying that we're science deniers when they're the people that they don't know which bathroom to go to.
Well, exactly. What they don't understand is, genetically, that person is still going to be a female.
That's right. Yeah, you can't change your chromosomes. That's what it's
right.
all about. That determines your gender.
Yeah, and you can't do that. They haven't developed that yet. I don't know. It frustrates me because it's just ridiculous that
Well, it still comes back to the fact that these newer generations, starting from our kids on down,
Right.
they started thinking that, well, you know, they didn't like the idea that there's bullies out there. They didn't like the idea that things are unfair. So rather than make anybody feel bad, we'll just treat everybody the same, you know,
Mm.
and we won't let people be disappointed. We won't let people have to suffer
Yeah,
the
everybody gets
inhumanity of
a
things.
ribbon, a
Yeah,
participation
exactly.
ribbon,
Participation.
participation trophy. You know, I mean, they even had that when I was in high school. I was on a bowling team for, it was for the disabled kids at my
Right.
school. But you know what? Every year we'd have our end of the season function where everybody got a trophy. And after a while, it's like, yeah, this doesn't really mean much to me anymore.
Well, and that's it. And everybody just assumes that you get to, because of that, you, yeah. I'm not functioning full fledged today, Art. I apologize.
That's okay.
This day started out wrong. My internet went down, and it's just like, ah.
Right.
And so I was hustling to try and get
What
everything
did
set
you
up.
hear about the so-called vigil that they had for the victims of the school shooting?
No, I did not.
All right. Well, there was supposed to be a non-denominational event, a vigil that was, I think, a couple days after the shooting, a vigil for the victims, and it was put on by the Brady Group and Mothers Demand Action Group, and it turned out to be a political event. And they had Senator Michael Bennett and Congressman Jason Crow show up, and they started, spouting off. We need more accountability for politicians who won't do anything about the gun violence. We need to do something. We need more stricter laws. But the kids were really smart. They saw it for what it is, and they walked out.
Well, good for them. Yeah. I was just noticing that Drone Effect said that my mic was too low and yours was too loud.
Oh, I'm too loud?
So you might need to, lower your volume on the. Do you have a separate mic input set up on the vMix,
I've got
or does?
yours and mine. Let's see. What else? Oh, you know what? I'll lower that. How do I sound now?
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was using the mic on the camera instead of my regular USB
Right.
mic.
Yeah, that's a little quieter, and I brought my mic closer to me.
Okay.
I'm going to kill that dog. She has been doing that all morning, and it's just like, we have one dog. He's smart. He gets under the bed where I can't get to him, and then sits there and growls and barks. It's like, "Urf, urf." Like, and if I could get to you, if I get my fat butt under there, you'd be dead.
Yeah, it's whatever is going on outside. It just excites them, and they want
Neighbors.
to, investigate or something. They want to go out and they want to guard their territory.
We live on a cross street, and our backyard faces down basically the alley, and everybody's backyard comes up to the alley, and ours is the cross street this way, and
Right.
everybody else's is down that way. So they go out in our backyard and they think for the next block down that's their territory. So anybody, any dog, anything that moves in the backyard, they think it's theirs.
Right.
Village idiots.
Right.
Oh, they drive me nuts.
Yeah.
But, yeah, good for those kids that saw that was they were using it as a political rally. And
well, what it is this school is a charter school, so these kids are, they're on a different level, and they're not, how should I say, indoctrinated like the kids in the public schools who will walk out in solidarity for their teachers and stuff. Because, you got your kids that are, they're teachers' pets, so to speak.
Right, yeah.
But,
Jim Crennan just came in. Good.
Oh, great. Good to see you, Jim. All right, cool. Oh, what happened? There we go. I'm back. Another thing is, it turns out that a few months ago, someone had sent a notice to the school board, telling them, hey, there's something going on here, be prepared. And the school board members, they're all backed by the teachers union, they just ignored the warnings going on, and I'm wondering if that school board could be sued by the parents of the victims because they chose not to, have armed guards or arm the teachers to
they could be. Hey, Art, I'm going to have to step away for a minute. I am sorry about this. It's one of them days that everything's not working out. I need to go check on my wife real quick.
Okay.
And yeah, I think probably they should be. Hello, Thomas O'Sullivan and Jim Crennan and Claude. And I'm going to step away for just a second, so I'll be right back as quick as I can.
Okay. All right, so while Lloyd's taking care of that, let's jump into the next topic. We'll talk about Attorney General Bill Barr is in the hot water because now the Democrats who now control the House, they subpoenaed him. They wanted the unredacted version of the Mueller report. And, the president said, no, this is executive privilege, which is protected by the Constitution. Now they're all up in arms and they want to hold Attorney General Bill Barr in contempt of Congress because he won't come forth, he won't give them the unredacted report of the Mueller report. And, okay, say, what if he does and he gives them the report? Then he's breaking the law because he's breaking, the executive privilege, which is not good. So, but if he doesn't do that, then he's held in contempt of Congress. But what are they going to find in there in the unredacted report? All they're going to find out is the people that their names were being hidden because to protect their identity because they were part of an investigation or they were the victims of this investigation. So I don't think they had any intention of wanting to find out the truth. They just want to go after this president, and what will end up happening is they're going to come up with a story saying he's obstructing justice. No, he hasn't. He's complied with everything they've said. They asked for it. He's turned over several million pages of documents to the investigation, and they found nothing. And it turns out this whole the Steele dossier, that was a phony, made-up thing to get a FISA warrant so they could spy on the president. All right, so here's Lloyd.
Okay, I am back.
We're
That's one of the things.
Now we're talking about Attorney General Bill Barr is in hot water because he refuses to give Congress the un-redacted Mueller report, which they're demanding, and now they're holding him in contempt of Congress.
Well, I think under executive privilege, that won't matter anyway. So, but yeah, that's one of those ridiculous things. I mean, if anybody should be held in contempt, it should be Congress itself right now. But that's besides the point. The reason he's holding back is because there are certain matters there that they are investigating under current. They're still under investigation, and they have to keep that information closed off. Otherwise, the scoundrels involved will, dump the evidence, get rid of it if they haven't already. And Congress needs to let this investigation finish out but the Democrats aren't going to and the no Trump Republicans, which are just as worthless. Whatever it takes, and that's the problem, and that's what we have a deterioration of our government right now, is because they seem to think that Congress has always been of the opinion, especially the last 40 years probably, that they are above everybody else. That their branch is the most important branch. It's above the, and what they don't understand is they're 1/3 of a checks and balance system, and when they don't get their way, they try to find ways around that. And that's what's going on here. They're trying to find a way around that. So let's hold him in contempt.
Well, I think they're worried that this investigation is going to turn back on them, and they're going to find out, hey, it's not Donald Trump that's in trouble. It's going to be several people in the previous administration that could be in a lot of hot water, like Hillary Clinton, and even Barack Obama could be in serious trouble with this whole thing. And it all revolves around the Steele dossier, which took place at a hotel in Moscow, and that whole sword story.
And in all honesty,
Go ahead.
You can't tell me the president didn't know about some of this. The former president, Barack Obama.
Yeah, it was. This goes way back to 2016 during the campaign, and he was still in office. Barack Obama's the one that got the ball rolling on all of this, not Donald Trump.
Exactly. So, I'm doing some adjustments here, because I noticed something is out of whack, and so I'm going to put that there. And that's centered up on your screen. So, anyways, this was. I honestly think that's what they're scared of. Well, we know that's what they're scared of, and I think that's what's going to happen. Will anybody get punished for it? Probably not.
Yeah.
If it was a Republican, oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But and this. Oh, I will, Jim Crennan, and tell your wife the same. Happy Mother's Day too. I just caught the chat, and
Yeah.
I'm
I
trying to
just
watch
saw
three
that.
things at once here.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's that's what it comes down to. They're trying to stop Donald Trump. They've been trying to stop him anyways. You know,
Right.
it just comes down to the fact that they didn't want him in there. They wanted Hillary because they had they had everything made. You know, they had it set
Right.
up to where they could have total control of the country. And I mean, I've always said there needs to be a balance of power.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
but like under the previous Republican administration, we really didn't have a good balance because it was either all Republicans, but even those Republicans, 20% of those weren't even conservatives.
Right. Uh-huh.
They were rhinos, Republican in name only. You know, so.
That's true.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it
and-
is. He's wanting to keep that right now until they can finish the investigation on the redacted parts.
Right. And also, I've been following politics since high school, and it just seems like this bitterness, this hatefulness has really gotten out of hand in the last few years. It really started getting bad under George W. Bush. When we were attacked, everybody was all together. Everybody was saying, yeah, it's good for the country. And I sat back and I said, yeah, you just wait. I wonder how long this will last. And it didn't take long that the Democrats were after George Bush for this and that, and to try anything to stop George Bush from getting victory in Iraq and Afghanistan. Stupid little stuff like Abu Ghraib happened, and they tried to hang that on his neck, and it's like, hey, he didn't do any of this stuff. It was just some knucklehead plebes that decided to have fun with some of the prisoners that broke all sorts of military code, and you know what? They were rightly punished. But to make a whole big stinking deal about this, it's like, you know what, folks? These people they don't adhere to the rules of Geneva Convention, and so why should we, bow down to them? During World War II, we were much brutal than we are now. Now our military is so hamstrung by rules and regulations that no wonder a lot of our service members are getting killed over there unnecessarily.
Well, this started in Vietnam when the powers that be started regulating the rule. In World War II, Franklin Roosevelt, his job was to work with the State Department or whatever department to negotiate strategy with our allies. Okay, that was his job. And to give the final approval when the generals came up with a plan. But the generals fought the war. Not the politicians, not the senators and the members of House or the judiciary committees or anything. No, it was all done by the generals. It was, and they brought the plan, the finalization to the president. And if it was a massive plan that needed presidential approval, obviously, But he also had gone. We didn't have the Presidential War Powers Acts back then either. So
That's right.
that wasn't brought in till Vietnam. Beginning of
After
Vietnam.
Nixon left, yeah.
After Nixon, yeah. And so there was a lot of there's been a lot of changes, but Vietnam is the one thing that really created a lot of this problem. A lot of our policies changed during Vietnam because we had civilians protesting.
Yeah, I think it goes back even earlier than that. If you go to the Korean War, that's when the politicians started to dictate what is acceptable. Do we want total victory or do we want stalemate? And MacArthur, he wanted to win. He said, hey, give me a few nukes and we'll stop this. And Truman said, nope, we can't do this. We routed the communists all the way back up to the border with China. We had liberated North Korea. And then the Chinese got involved and they poured, 500,000 men into the fight.
Yeah.
They were able to push us back to about the 38th parallel, and it's been a stalemate ever since. And I think the reason they didn't try to take over the whole peninsula was they were still friends with the Soviet Union at the time, and the Soviet Union was saying, no, we don't want them get pissed off enough to where we started a war in Europe and have nukes dropped on Moscow. So I think that was part of
Russia
the
was still
reason why it
recovering
was-
from.
Pardon?
Russia was still recovering. This is 1951. They were still recovering from the cost of World War II.
Right.
And it had just been 5 years before. They couldn't afford to be in a protracted long war at that point yet.
That's true. That's true. And then when Vietnam happened, I think Kennedy's idea was, it was all about containment. They just didn't want communism to spread throughout Asia. They were worried that if South Korea fell, then Japan would be next, and they were worried about Vietnam. And sadly, we lost in Vietnam because of the bungling in our Congress after Nixon had left the scene.
Right, yeah. We, well, that whole thing was, the French had been, we went in, and no offense to any of our French friends, but seems like we've always had to go in and clean up their messes. World War I, World War II, Vietnam, all over Southeast Asia. Yeah. And there again, we allowed the politicians to do it. And I don't know what happened at some point. It was under Lyndon Johnson that the shift of the war changed, and he
started
real simple.
The escalation of the war. He sent more troops in, then he decided to use the bombing of Hanoi and areas around Hanoi. But there again, they could have easily won the war. All they had to do was bomb Haiphong Dam, and that would have been it for North Vietnam. And that was one of the targets that was a no-go zone for the military.
Yeah, if you're going to fight a war, you don't set up no-go zones. That's been the problem, and that's been the problem since then. And I think the biggest situation is part of the tide turned against Lyndon Johnson. Our world changed when Kennedy was assassinated. It's just politics. Everything changed. I don't care who you think did it and who didn't do it. It doesn't matter. That's what changed. And when we started letting the legislature and stuff run the war, and you know, and McNamara, he was I don't know. He had an ego bigger than George Patton's. You know, his ego was bigger than Patton's. You know, and Patton had a pretty good sized ego.
That's right.
But and I don't think he was necessarily the guy for the war. But what happened is we had the indoctrination in the colleges.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
we were so busy. We were so busy looking for socialism and communism outside of the United States, and we were so scared of becoming McCarthy's again by saying, "Oh, we've got socialists in the college now," that we turned a blind eye to it.
Yep.
And once the indoctrination started there, it just traveled downhill, and then, you know, it went out to the masses. You know, Timothy Leary and all of those guys come out of, you know, Haight-Ashbury, and it spread, and then you had the guys coming back from Vietnam. There's different segments of the people that came back from Vietnam. Those that were in 1965, 66, and 67, up to the Tet Offensive, you know, in that area. Those guys came back, and they're still the patriotic, gung-ho, ready-to-go type veterans. Then you have the ones 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73. Those are the ones who you see sitting around with their hair hanging down to the middle of their back, unshaven, like me, you know, wearing their vest with their 1,000 patches, and, you know, and saying the country owes me something.
Right.
You know, that's because they came back because the war took a drastic change after the Tet Offensive. Well, and we had the race riots, you know, going on here in '68 too, and it happened over there. You know, there were some racial problems over there too. I mean, everything that happened here spilled in because, one, we were rotating men in and out. We weren't rotating units, you know. We were replacing man for man. Now we replace unit for unit. And so, you know, you might be, let's take the 173rd Airborne. Okay, there's one of the most decorated groups in Vietnam.
Right.
And one of the less heard about, but they were they were the first ones in there, and one of the last ones out.
Right.
And the problem is it was a brigade, it was a unit. Okay, they brought them in, they brought them out, but what they started doing was, one guy gets killed, they replace him from somebody fresh out of boot camp or out of
Pendleton?
advanced infantry, you know, or jump school, you know. Right after they finished, they'd get shipped off to Vietnam, and that guy would replace one guy who just got killed, who had been with the team for 6 months, and now you can't replace our buddy, because they were no longer a cohesive unit because we were replacing one for one. They learned from that mistake, and that's why Afghanistan and Iraq have been more successful, because we're replacing units. That's why we have these big parades people coming back, because the whole unit is. It's my wife getting onto the dogs. We're replacing whole units now instead of individuals. Hang on.
All right.
Dogs. I don't know what they're barking at. I know it's the people across the streets having a party for Mother's Day. But anyways, that's what happened, and I think that's what's happened in Vietnam, and that forever changed the way we fight wars now.
Right. Okay, well, I'm glad I have you as my co-host, because you give a military perspective on what's going on over there, and which I'm glad I was able to snag you for my show here. So
well, I appreciate you having me too.
I don't know if you ever listened to talk radio here in Denver back in the 70s and 80s. There was a conservative talk show host by the name of Mike Rose, And after he graduated college, no, he didn't graduate college. He flunked out of college and got drafted. This is back in '67. But fortunately for him, he got sent to Germany, where he was at a Hawk missile site, where he worked in a Hawk missile battery, which I believe it's down by Munich.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's where it was at.
uh, and I've met Mike several times. I was a big fan of his radio show. Very smart guy. I have his book, and he's very detailed when he talks about certain topics, and which makes a really good show. And his show is broad. He brings in a lot of other topics. He's a big baseball fan. He talks about the Yankees because he grew up with Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris. And he talks about the New York Football Giants and the big game between the Giants and the Colts for the NFL championship. And then his show was a really good show, and hopefully this show will be as broad and influential as his show was. So he's kind of my mentor right now. Now he's semi-retired. He doesn't have his regular show. He fills in for Mandy Connell and other hosts when they can't fill in, but he still does a Saturday show where they do movie reviews. So if you get a chance,
Okay.
you can probably get
Yeah, I am familiar with. You said Mike Rose, right?
Mike Rosen. Yep.
Yeah. I am familiar with him. Believe it or not, I'm trying to think where I heard him at.
He was at
'Cause
KOA.
I still occasionally listen to. It's KOA.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
was there when
Which is-
you remember God, now I'm drawing a blank. He's that talk show host that was killed by the neo-Nazis back in the 80s. Alan Berg.
Yeah.
Yep. And Alan Berg,
yeah.
he was one of those shock jocks that they called, where he would just purposely
Right.
try to inflame people, and he got the neo-Nazis mad at him, and they ambushed him at his house and assassinated him as he pulled into the driveway.
Yeah. That's something I don't understand. See, my dad and my uncles all fought in World War II. They fought
Right.
the Nazis. They, fought against the
Japanese?
not the Allies, but they fought the Japanese, the Italians, and the Italians and the Germans.
Right.
And they fought against Nazism, and yet these far-right conservative groups are taking on the emblem of the Nazis. They don't understand. They have no clue what the Nazis were about.
Right.
They've taken and they're just as bad as the far left socialist, communist groups that are out there.
They were
The
socialists.
Antifas.
They were socialists, Lloyd.
Yeah.
That's why it was called
Exactly.
the National Socialist Party.
Socialist
But
Party.
This is where
Yeah.
the media has rewritten what the Nazis stood for. They weren't about small government. They were about big government and government control of aspect of your life. They controlled the businesses. They
Totalitarianism.
allowed businesses to be private, but they had a lot of control over businesses, who could own businesses, who could work for who, and things like that, and who could live where, and
Well,
things
that's
like
it,
that.
and you're right, and that's what it comes down to is we've allowed the media to control the agenda and control.
That's
We've
right.
allowed them to rewrite history, and it's pardon me, little shows like we've got right now
Right.
are the only thing probably keeping people informed, and I'm hoping that we're going to start getting growing here on this channel for you, because we got a lot to say, and part of that is the history. If people do not understand their history, they don't know what they're doing now, because yeah,
Yeah.
it just frustrates me. It just
Yep.
I get so frustrated with these people,
Yeah,
and
I get frustrated too, and I get frustrated with people on our side who they don't want to push back against the media and the liberals. They just want to, they want to be, good sports and gentlemanly, and I'm like, going, we can't do that because these
well,
people will run roughshod over you and
yeah,
control the agenda. And
yeah,
that's why when
a lot of them like to
when I got into politics
go ahead.
back in 2010, I kept telling these other candidates and the incumbents, hey, you can't be such good guys anymore because good guys finish last. You got to be out there and you got to be aggressive. And then that's another thing why they don't like Donald Trump, because he didn't do it that way. He was aggressive,
Yeah,
and and I said, see, that's what we gotta do. I've been telling people
and
that's
it is what
how
we've
we
got to
gotta
do.
start
Yeah.
running our elections or our campaigns now.
Well, and that's it. We don't. I think a lot of the Republicans, and of course, they associate themselves with they align themselves with Christianity, which that's cool. That's
Yeah,
great. I don't have a problem with that at all. I'm Christian, but they like to think it's like they seem to cling to only one verse, turn the other cheek.
yeah,
They forget about the part where Jesus walks into the synagogue and just rips them a new one. He tears that place up physically. I mean, he just destroys the sellers outside of the synagogue. He just goes in there and just tosses the money changers and all that.
right,
He didn't turn the other cheek in that.
right,
He went in there and cleaned out the garbage. And that's the problem, that the Republicans, if they're clinging to the Christianity from just turn the other cheek, which, to be honest with you, most of them, that's probably the only thing they know out of the Bible, is turn the other cheek. A good portion of them probably have no clue, not a good portion, but probably I don't know. Sometimes I look at what they do and I'm thinking, have they ever
yeah,
even picked it up? But that's where their mindset gets. Well, we got to be the nice guy. We got to turn the other cheek. No, you have to get rid of the serpents and the snakes. You have to
that's true.
take on the enemy, because I guarantee you, the enemy's not going to play nice with us. And this is what I said if we ever got into war with the in the Middle East.
Right,
I said we would not be able to win a war the way we do it now,
right,
because first off, they're Islamic or Muslim. Okay, they had 5 factions. They're down to 2 because they killed off all the other groups or assimilated them into their groups.
right,
It was the son-in-law of Muhammad and his I don't know, 2 brothers and 2 brother-in-laws, I can't remember, that brought in the 5 groups of Islam, and they've got it down to just the one of his brothers' beliefs and the son-in-law's beliefs, and that's the Shiites and the Sunnis.
Right.
Okay, and that's where those come from. But anyways, they still only have two groups, but they still agree on a lot of the fundamentals. We as Christians will sit around and say, well, it's okay, we're going to fight this holy war against these people. How are we going to do it? We're going to do it as a Baptist? Oh, no, I'm Pentecostal. I couldn't do anything the Baptists do. Well, what about the Presbyterians? They can't do anything the Lutherans would do, and the Lutherans can't do anything the Catholics would do, and the Catholics can't do anything anybody else would do. So we sit around with 100 people in a room scratching their butts trying to figure out how to fight this holy war while they're kicking our asses.
Right.
Excuse my language. But that's exactly the mindset we have in the state. You know, we want freedom of religion, and yet we're not willing to fight as Christians for that freedom.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know,
You got it.
we'll roll over and turn the other cheek because, well, we got to be nice about this. You know,
Yeah.
the separation of church and state group that is a Christian organization. There's one. They don't understand the damage they've done because they're part of. They're supposed to be. It's supposed to have been a Christian-based group that supports separation of church and state. What they've done is taken God out of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
That,
that's
That's
what our
right.
problem is, and that's why the Republicans are scared to do anything but turn the other cheek, because they're scared of offending whichever evangelical base is supporting them. You know,
yep.
and you know. But I guarantee you, the other people, the people that don't believe at all, or the socialist, or the communist, or whatever group,
Yeah.
they don't care. They're agnostic or atheists anyway, so they're going to take us on and they're going to tear us apart.
Right. And yeah, and they'll back our enemies to get the agenda done, because they pretty much agree with the same philosophy as Islam. You know, except for the part where men dominate the women and kill all the gays. But hey, that's okay with them, because it's all about the new
that's
world
kind of
order. They want a one world government, and the problem with that is our Constitution is in the way of that.
Well, look how well it's working for the EU right now.
Yep.
It hasn't. I mean, you got countries that are going bankrupt, and the other countries are having to bail them out. You know, and eventually they're all going to go bankrupt. You know, yeah, it's that one world order. It's only going to benefit the. It's sort of like YouTube. You know, here we are at the bottom of the barrel trying to scrape up, anywhere, try to get to sometimes 100, 200, 500, 1,000 subscribers. And then you got people like PewDiePie and Casey Neistat that are setting the examples, and they're the leaders because they got here first. They got to set the agenda. And the rest of us, and of course, they're above it too. You don't see those guys getting suspended for I can't remember ever seeing Casey or PewDiePie getting suspended.
Right.
Having their account suspended.
Well, how
Ain't gonna
about
happen because they're at the
Logan
top.
Paul? He got his account suspended because he did something really stupid in Japan, and it offended a lot of the people in Japan, and I don't know if he ever got his channel back. But yeah,
He got his channel back. It's a pathetic. Yeah, he still got all of his subscribers. Well, he lost about half of them, but he still had so many to lose. He still got you, me, and everybody that we know in the drone community still don't have as much as he's got put together.
That's right.
Because he came out and did this apology, and Casey had him on, and I wrote Casey and I said, you've just lost me as a subscriber that you'd even give this guy 5 seconds of your time.
Right.
And there again, he got suspended, and he stepped away. I think
Yeah,
my
you tell him,
housekeeper's coming
boy.
in. Let me
Tell
check.
those dogs to be quiet.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what. Yeah, it's they're annoying today. They're just really working overtime. So
Yeah.
I'm checking my front door here. I got a Ring doorbell. So,
Oh, okay, cool. Cool, that's
yeah,
great.
it's just the neighbors across the street. Every time they get out and move their car, those idiots bark. But still, he gets by. He, instead of suspending him permanently for that,
Right.
he got a, I don't know,
Slap on the
30-day
wrist.
suspension or 1 week. Yeah, slap on the wrist, and he's back. He
Right.
makes a few apology videos, and he's trying to get his money back. Get back into where he's making money. He goes and he's in a fight with some other YouTuber, and like
Right.
a soap opera, and they end up having a charity boxing match against each other, or it's just. But if I did something like that, I'd never get my account back.
Oh yeah, I know. So,
And that's what socialism is.
Yeah.
It's a pyramid scheme. Those that got in here and are the big guys at the top, they stand on the backs of the rest of us little guys.
You
It's all
are
an Amway program.
absolutely right, Lloyd. My analogy is YouTube is the equivalent of Amway or Shackley. All the people that got in like years ago, they're doing great because they've got all this content that they've been putting out for all these years, and they've developed a following, and instead of selling a product, they were selling themselves, which brought in enough subscribers to where advertisers are looking at them and say, wow, these guys are really good, so let's advertise on them. And it used to be back in the day when you had Google AdSense, and you could monetize your YouTube channel. And back in the day, I made a few pennies off of monetizing on this channel. This is my original channel. It was originally
Right.
Arthur Carlson. And it was just a place where I put videos that I made over the years. I started this channel back in 2007, and
So you've had yours longer than I've had mine.
and if I was smart enough, if I would have been jumped on it way back then, I'd probably have a ton of subscribers by now. But I just looked at YouTube as it's a place for DIY and cat videos and cute babies and stuff like that. But it's really grown now. to where I
But
think
you're right.
YouTube is going to overtake network television, and it's going to do away with cable television.
Well, it's already. I mean, you can already buy and rent movies off of YouTube now.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, any movie coming out you can get right here on YouTube, and they keep raising the bar to 1,000 and 4,000 hours because they're trying to get rid of the small channels because it's not viable for them to keep up with it.
Right.
But they just, like I said, I agree with you. I've been saying for the longest time, Asgard Studios, Hugh, this is where he and I disagree because he talks about following the algorithms are not going to make a whit of difference because it's a card game stacked against us. The house always wins. It doesn't matter. And the people that are dealing the cards, Casey Neistat, PewDiePie, there's a those are the only two that pop in my head. There's that girl, Justine. Those are the three top people in the internet, on YouTube, and they're the ones who got in there. And there's the occasional ones that will jump up there, and for whatever reason they take off. There's one channel that started off just, I don't know, 5 months ago,
Right.
and they went from 10 to 1,400 in 5 or 6 months.
Wow.
But they can't sustain it, and they went from 10 to 1,000 in about 3 months.
Wow.
And then they went from there to, then they started slowly moving up, and they got up to 1,100, 1,200, 1,300.
Right.
And in the last 3 months they've only gained about 60 people.
Wow.
And because of what they were putting out, what they were doing was good content, but they couldn't sustain it.
Right.
Because the real world steps in and says, you can't, and they're not getting the kind of, didn't have the watch hours that it was needed, so they couldn't do this as a living.
Right.
And as a result, they've had to change their way of doing things, and their content has dropped off. And as a matter of fact, their content's completely changed.
Right.
It's gone from being something about drones to being something completely different, because they're no longer involved with the drone community like that.
Right.
And so it was a great flash in the pan, but unfortunately it has slowed to a halt. I started off fast. I mean, I'd had this account since 2009, and I had 5 people. And then in 2017, I did my first video. By the middle of 2018, I was at 400, almost 500, and I couldn't break 500. Well, I finally broke 500, but I'm stuck.
Right.
And part of it is because I think I've spread myself too thin on a lot of things. That's why, I'm just doing your show and Mel's show and my show.
Right.
And I may drop in on the others just simply because, like Claude here, I enjoy his show.
Yeah.
And I enjoy dropping in, but Judy's health is started
Right.
another slow decline again,
Right.
and it's just
Yeah, I
I got to
understand
do what I
that.
got to do.
Yeah,
but,
I started this channel, my other channel, my drone channel. I started that last fall, and now I'm at 541, so I'm getting closer to the 600 mark. All I have to do is, I'm just going to have fun, and it's forcing me to become a better editor, because I've been watching what other people do to make their videos better. Like today, I watched this guy. He's a fishing channel, and I watch and I go, you know what? I like his channel because he does a lot of what we call B-roll, where and that's what I did in that one video that really got that channel going. And you just gotta be, instead of making a plain vanilla video where you have an intro, here's the video, and thanks for watching, please subscribe to my show. That's what I like about Ken Heron's videos. He makes them entertaining. He because he's been in the entertainment business for so long, he knows how to edit video and put out quality content.
Oh yeah, there's no competition there. He's probably why he's not at
100,000,
400,000 now. Yeah, 500,000. He should be up there. He really should be. Why he's not, I don't know. Why he's not at 100,000, I don't know. He's getting closer.
Yeah,
but,
he's at 86,000 now.
I think so. Yeah. When I
like
started watching
week,
him, he was at.
I see new people
he's
coming into the chat. which is good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Always a new bunch of people coming in.
Right.
I'm adjusting my mic here so I can get comfortable. That's what I love about this swing arm mic. I got it finally set on this desk properly, and I can move it around. I can, if I need to.
Well, I gotta get a
It's out of my
comfortable
way,
chair. This wooden chair is just hell on my butt right now.
Oh, well, this chair here, my wife just got me. This is my new chair that she got me here a couple weeks ago, and it is comfortable. It's leather. Everything on it is this is all bonded leather, and it's just
Right.
man, yeah. It could use about that much more insulation on the or padding underneath it, because but it doesn't cut off. It's got a nice roll to it, so it doesn't cut off the circulation to your legs.
Right.
And
right.
it sits up higher too. So for me, that's important because I have a tall desk.
Right.
Well, I have a huge desk. It's made out of walnut, and with a
Is it one of those roll top
the thing weighs
desks?
about 600 pounds. Yeah, it's an executive office desk, so it's
okay.
like it's 4 foot deep and close to 6 foot long. Yeah.
Wow.
Or 5 foot long. Yeah, it's a huge desk. It's got 6 drawers in it. Well, it's got 5 because on this one side is a filed cabinet drawer.
Right.
And it's when my son had his own business. Well, hello, Ranger. That's my dog here.
Oh, look at that little pooch. Nice dog.
Yeah, yeah. Little is not the word I would use, but yeah, he's a puppy. He's the puppy of the family.
Oh,
But
that's good. And
no, get out of there.
some
Go
of
lay
the
down.
other channels like Raise That Drone with Kelly Shores. He's a likable guy. He doesn't put out
Right.
a whole lot of content, but when he does, it's really good quality stuff. And
Yeah.
what else was I? Just that title.
Well, I mean,
he's got Raise
he's
That
one of the
Drone.
nicest snowflakes I know. Yeah, he's one of the nicest snowflakes I know.
Yeah.
If he ever sees this, he knows I'm joking with him. But he said it on my show. He said he was a snowflake, and
Well,
actually, he said it on Mel's show.
Ah, okay. Well, I kind of figured.
But,
He lives in Austin, and that's a
Yeah,
pretty liberal town right there in Texas. So he's
That's
out
it.
in the
I
suburbs
think that
of
has a
us.
lot to do with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a college town.
But
And it's the capital.
he does put out good content, but and it's limited, but his stuff is always top quality. There's probably 10,000 vloggers out there. I
Yeah.
knew I wasn't going to compete. I'm an old fat white guy, as I say, and or FWOF, fat white old fart.
Right.
So I don't have a lot to offer the rest of the world, other than my opinions, and it's just my day-to-day life. And my life's pretty boring, so I don't expect to be hitting 100,000 in my lifetime.
Right.
Maybe my grandkids will see some of my videos hit 100,000 someday, but it ain't going to happen
There
in my
you go.
lifetime. But I don't care because I'm doing it for fun, and that's really the secret of it, is to do it for fun. And I'm staying away from a lot of places now. I go to Claude's because I enjoy being in Claude's. I like your channel because I enjoy being here. Mel, he and I just click together.
Yep.
But but I stay away from a lot of it because I'm discovering there's just, has it hurt me? Yeah, it probably has a little bit. But I don't care because I got to the point where it's not worth the effort. Going to Claude's is a, when I get to go there, I'm going to, which Claude, if you're still in here listening, I'm going to come back in hopefully this next week. I'll be able to drop in one day. And but I'm going to limit it just because I just can't. I can't keep up under all of it. So,
Right.
but
Well, Lloyd,
I have to put my glasses on so I can see the
about,
chat.
how long have we been on? Oh boy, we've been on for an hour and 20 minutes, and I think
Yeah.
it's about time we should shut this puppy down. And I just want to thank you for, being on with me, and I wish you the best weekend, and hope Judy feels better. And take care of those dogs, okay?
I will, and thanks for having me, Art. And I'm sorry I was late getting things started. It just all went to
Yep. That's how
in
it
a
goes
handbasket in about.
Yep.
It's life.
Yep. All right. Well, take care, and we'll see you next time. I don't think we're going to do a show next week. I'm going to be down in Pueblo again, going fishing.
All right. Well, you have fun fishing, my friend. You enjoy it, and don't forget Mel is having his show. I think he said at 7:45 Central Time tonight. So it'll be 6:45 your time.
Okay.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.